Hello. This week, I just thought I'd share one more of my videos from my Normandy trip with you, because it's relevant to the church in Sainte-Mère-Église, and I still can't believe that I've found myself here, and to actually see the place where the American 82nd and 101st Airborne landed and did their respective jobs. I just find it really awesome to be here in person and seeing it, up close. And I've always been interested in my history. Mum and Dad brought me up on things like the World at War. Obviously, my dad and all my uncles served, so it was, although they didn't always talk a lot about it, it was, I don't know, just something that we grew up with in my generation, talking about the war and hearing about the war. And I've had a fascination for it ever since. But to actually be here in Normandy and see Sainte-Mère-Église is, really awesome. The people that follow my channel regularly will know that I've got a particular interest in this church because I've just recently got a 3D printed model of it that I'm intending to paint and decorate to try and do this place justice. So if you see me focusing on a lot of bricks and close-ups like this, I'm actually doing research. But I hope it's useful for anybody who wants to just have a glimpse of this place that just can't make it. And I know how that is, because it's took me a lifetime to get here. And it's been worth the wait. It's a very special place, and it's full of memories of some heroic men, really. All of the wartime generation have got my admiration. I mean, they truly were the greatest generation. There's no doubt about it. What they did and what they achieved and what they brought to an end is just, well, there are no words. Obviously, I'm focusing on the parachute figure up there. Incidentally, that figure that represents Private John Marvin Steele, you probably, if you don't know it from the books, you'll certainly know it from the movie The Longest Day. He hangs there above the scene of what's going on. Well, he didn't actually land on that side of the church, to be fair. It's just a representation. He actually landed on the other side of the bell tower, which we'll see in a bit. But as you can see, I'm having a good scan of the brickwork here, and that's so I can get the colours right when I'm working on my model. And also the fact that I just wanted to be able to look back at this and, really have a good look at the church. Because, I'm here on one of those bus trips, so you don't get a great deal of time. I've tried to pack in as much as I possibly can. But the safest thing for me was to record it. And I just had to come inside the place. I mean, I think I've said before, I'm here for the history, but I love the history of churches as well. I am a Christian, and, it does mean something to me to be in here as well, so... but that's not what I'm here to share with you. It's really about capturing the history of it and soaking up the atmosphere, really. It's a beautiful church. There's a cracking statue of Dwight D. Eisenhower here as well. Really is a nice piece of work. It's interesting just wandering around this square, to be honest. But the other thing I wanted to do in my trip here is to capture the streets. Now, I know that they've changed. They're all modern now. But the building structures are still the same. The colours of the stone are still the same. And these are the kind of things that I want to capture for myself. For when I'm doing, models of the buildings and I'm trying to recreate Sainte-Mère-Église on the table. I want to get a feel for it. So I'm using the right palette, when I'm painting. It's not that it's part of the game, I know, but to me, it's nice to have it looking right, and to have the right feel about it. And just making sure that I capture, all the different sides of the church. You can see the different stonework used on this edition. I've also took the time to take some stills as well, because it's always nice to have some pictures to work from. And hopefully, I know there's going to be history people looking at this that want to see the place, and that's great. But I want this to be useful to modelers as well. If you're doing any dioramas and you're looking for the colours of the church, the styles, the windows, things like that. I'm hoping this video will be of use to you as well, to give you, a more realistic palette and a way of recreating it, in your dioramas or your war games. And the important thing for me as well was to capture the inside. As I've said before, I love the look of the inside of these old churches, but more importantly at the moment, I wanted to capture the spirit of the place, and also to take pictures of all the windows, because I still am toying with the idea of introducing windows to my model. And I may well use some of these and print them off onto acetate. Time will tell with that one, because it's not a project I'm going to start straight away. I'm sorry if you're here to hear about the history of this church, or even the part that it played during the Second World War, because that's not really what this video is about. It's, for me, I just wanted to share the experience of visiting the place, and it took me a long while to be able to get here. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people like me that just love to be able to visit, but can't. So I'm not going to try and tell you anything about the history of this place. I'm just trying to give you an impression of what it's like to visit and what it looks like inside. There is so much to see. But as I've said, you can't just do it justice in one little visit. But I hope at least it'll have given you a taste for the place, and a feeling of what it's like to visit. I'm glad I came across this water pump. The citizens were using this to put out a house fire when the parachutes came down. You may have seen it in the film The Longest Day. And down this end, I've been able to pick up some more of the monuments and record those. As I say, I wanted to also capture some of the street scenes. And I'm going to compare these against some old photos when I get back. There's a lot of places I would have liked to have gone to while I was at Sainte-Mère-Église. There's a lot of landing spots for some of the paratroopers that featured in Band of Brothers that I just didn't get to. We just didn't have time. One of the biggest disappointments was that I didn't get a chance to visit the Airborne Museum. I mean, it was there right in front of me, but it wasn't on our itinerary, so I didn't get to see it. Maybe one day I'll get another opportunity. Anyway, before we leave Sainte-Mère-Église, I wanted to take a little bit of time to honour the men that landed here, fought here and died here on D-Day. So just a little moment in the church to myself just to remember what they'd done. Not far outside Sainte-Mère-Église itself, we came across this monument to Lieutenant T. Meehan III, who was the original lieutenant in charge of E Company in the 506. You may recall in Band of Brothers that Dick Winters takes over because he's been lost. Well, this monument was basically put up when they found the wreckage. I have no real French skills at all, but I've tried to translate this as best I can from this little plaque by the side of the monument. I believe it reads, "This aircraft, number 66, was flying at the head of the formation and was pierced with shells by anti-aircraft defences. It attempted a makeshift landing, crashed violently against an edge, and exploded and burned continuously for 3 days. Clearly, with such an intense heat, they were declared missing because they weren't identified straight away." I think it goes on to talk about the fact that during the research that looked into it, among the ashes, they found things like the crickets, rings, I think dog tags, and also a fossilised watch with the hands that had been stopped at 1:12 a.m. and an helmet that had been flattened like a sheet of paper. You can only imagine how violent the impact was. A tragic loss of Meehan and all the other men that were on board. Very sad. The final stop that we made just outside Sainte-Mère-Église, just to finish this video off, was something I've always wanted to see, and that is the monument to Richard Winters. Amazing chap, an amazing commander. The more I read about him, I mean, obviously Band of Brothers, you know, I think that kind of brought his story to the fore. But the more you read about the man, the more respect you've got for him, really. And to be here is, well, it's an honour. I always found that story at the end of Band of Brothers about a grandson asking his grandpa whether he was a hero during the war. And he said no, but I served in a company of heroes. I find that so moving. And to be honest, I think they all were heroes. Everyone from every nation that served on D-Day, they were heroes. No mistake about it. Anyway, I'm going to sign off now. Hope it's at least giving you a taster of what it feels like to visit Sainte-Mère-Église and surrounding areas. And, you know, if you've not been, if it's on your bucket list, don't give up. One day you'll get there. It's took me till 60 to get here. And in the meanwhile, thanks for joining me. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.